Previously in X-Men. Today we are reading X-Men 101 from Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum from Marvel Comics, 1976. I am Jason Lapidus. This is Chris Sanagan. We are a group of 7 comics, and we are doing a read-through of the run of X-Men comics that turned it into a classic. We're looking at primarily the Claremont John Byrne era from the late 70s and into the 80s, looking at how that amazing run impacts all superhero comics moving forward, team books specifically, but how it is like this legendary run of comics that then influences a generation of comics. It creates or inspires the generational cartoon in the 90s, the X-Men animated series, the first superhero team movie franchise that's a blockbuster film from 20th Century Fox. We're looking at the X-Men movies, of which there are 13, if you can believe it. And then looking forward to how this all might connect to the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, moving forward. It is a lot to take in, a lot of connections to make, a lot of fun to be had with us on a Tuesday night live stream. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. What else would you be doing on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock as we wind down 2021? I mean,
winding up 2022.
You might as well be here with us and wait till midnight until Boba Fett comes on.
Oh, yes. I
That's my watch, by the way. That's the watch sign.
I read your gestures. I'm an expert mime reader. I did not forget that it's tomorrow. I just forgot in this moment to be thinking about it. It's the first thing on my mind once this calendar day shifts, but it was not on my mind in the last few hours because I'm so excited to be here with you and to do the other thing that you and I do together, which is make comics.
Oh, that thing. Oh, I thought you were talking about, making comics.
We make comics together. You in Guelph, Ontario, and me here in Richmond Hill, Ontario. The writer-artist collab. And, we have a couple projects in the works that we're very excited about. And making comics today. Always.
Yeah.
Also shared documents going back and forth. I'm thinking about Boudica.
Yes.
Did you know there's a Green Lantern character named Boudica?
I think I did.
Let me ask you just a quick thought here.
Yeah.
What do you think about characters in science fiction or fantasy that are not based on Earth? The characters are not from Earth.
Okay.
But they share names with Earth people, with Earthlings.
Right. The reference is clearly to past Earthlings.
Right. So what do you think of it? Like, you're cool with it? You're like bored of it?
I don't think I'm against it. I think it's kind of hilarious to assume that unless there's like some weird cosmic coincidence that the way that names are pronounced or spelled are the exact same across the cosmos from, some Green Lantern's territory and then Earth. But no, I think it's just writing. I think it just comes down
just coming up with cool names and just
there are a lot of there's a lot of great sounding names in the history of the world, and so they're very much of their time. They're very much anachronistic. They don't sound like a modern name. So
right.
why not reach back and grab one, and that could represent this interstellar force to some degree, because we just don't speak like that anymore, or language evolves and changes and you play with it. So totally. But it is kind of funny. I didn't even make that connection that some names would be repurposed for that.
Oh, for sure. Forgetting, like, not even just going into Star Wars stuff, but yeah, if you check out the Green Lantern
Eternals?
First animated movie,
okay,
there are some, like, that's where Boudica is in that one. But she's a member, I think, of the Lost Lanterns. You know what? I wish one day that we have such a huge following on our live stream.
It's
that someone in the chat can post A, what her sector is,
please,
and B, what group of lanterns she's from.
Please.
But that is not the theme that we're discussing.
No, but
you want to add one more thought?
Well, I'm going to say, speaking of our large viewership, which has increased to 41.
41 subscribers,
including new subscriber Ridiculous, who joined us last week as well. I just want to say shout out, thank you for following us. Really appreciate it.
Is that what his name? How it's pronounced? I never.
Redekay.
Right. It's DK. Like I know him as DK or Derek.
Ridiculous. There you go. Anyway.
Right. Anyway,
Appreciate
DK.
the subscription. Appreciate it.
Yes. So we are reading today. You want to? Never mind. I got to do it.
Oh, you got it, man.
I got it. We are reading this book today. We're reading X-Men 101 from the all new, all different X-Men, soon to be known as the Uncanny X-Men.
So that comes soon.
It comes soon. I'm reading it in two different forms, as I almost always do. I'm reading it in the Essentials. This is the trade paperback, collecting this whole run in black and white. Oh, I just spoiled the ending. Some black and white, beautiful
that was
stuff.
Awesome.
It shows off Dave Cockrum's artwork really well in this. And this is my point about the whole podcast, or the whole live stream, is that Marvel calls it essential. It is number one of the essential. That means that this is the run where it really begins. It isn't X-Men number one.
No, they've made a call. They've made a call, and they said, "This is, look at that cover."
I'm also reading it in color, and I like the differences that are in classic X-Men. In this case, number 9. These issues match our episode numbers because when they decided to start running classic X-Men, it was based on the books that you and I are reading. So this is an Art Adams cover. Art Adams does the first run of covers for a long time, and they're all really good. This one is clearly referencing that one. Like they are parallel images, right? Like there's something going on there for sure.
I really get a kick out of seeing the initial. I'm glad. I'm so happy that you have multiple ways to read this comic, because I love seeing the original cover art and then seeing what Art Adams came up with. 10 years after the fact. They're striking. I mean, I like them both. I find it highly enjoyable. Because they're just coming at it completely differently.
And Adams has the benefit of it being, in this case, it's 1987. He probably draws this in 86,
right?
Or at least early 87. And he has the benefit of 10 years of not only looking at the image that's already there for 10 years, but also then applying the new style from other influences, guys like Michael Golden, Walt Simonson, who come in and do things from different angles and add dynamics in a different way. Cockrum is very much pulling from Silver Age artists while he's in the Bronze Age, where Adams is in whatever they want to say that comes after the Bronze Age. Are they calling it the modern? I mean, after 86, after 86, they're calling it something else, whether it's platinum or it doesn't really matter.
But it's also leveraging 10 years of character development, because look at if you can show that cover of the Art Adams again.
With pleasure.
Look at the face of Phoenix, of Jean Grey, of being a force. We don't know. But then if you scan back to what we have today, or what we're looking at today from 1976, she's a force, but the anger, the darkness isn't in her face. It's clearly in that in the Art Adams version. So to me, that's, he knows where the character has come after 10 years and the storylines that have followed. So to me, that suggests that that's his interpretation of the character 10 years after the fact. Where here we're just starting the character's journey, so we won't see that in that.
Agreed. Division. I think there's a lot of that happening in our readings of these old comics. We bring with us the end of the story and other interpretations of the story. We were talking last week about the movie Dark Phoenix. We were talking about
we did talk about it.
We did, and X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which I watched right after.
Did you really?
Finished? Oh, did I not tell you I did?
And I don't think you did. No.
I went and I watched it, I think that night even. And I said to myself, you know what? I kind of feel like we have a nice fireplace in our family room there. Right. And I put on the fireplace and I sat down and threw on my Disney Plus and threw on X-Men: The Last Stand. And I said, I'm going to fall asleep by the fire. I didn't fall asleep.
Because it was too riveting.
I was so interested in the comparison. You know what? It was just, I was engaged by, like I said, by the comparison, that I watched the entire movie, looking for things, and I cannot believe that you remember that character's name was Arclight. Just putting that out there, just blown away.
Do you know why I remember the character's name was Arclight? Because she had really stupid hair.
She had a look.
It was like a gel up and over, kind of like a guy from the Misfits. Basically, from the band The Misfits.
Right.
I don't know if that's what they were referencing.
Without a doubt.
But it was like that. I remember that, and I remember Ian McKellen says her name, and that she does one thing, and I thought to myself, if only I could be in Hollywood for one thing, it would be to have a stupid haircut,
yeah,
and to be a mutant and have
Ian
McKellen name. Anyway,
all right, so I'm just going to throw out one more anecdote, which I've said before, that these reproductions in the black and white, it shows off the line work.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't get muddied by all the color plates or the color printing, but they come out beautiful. Like Cochrum's work is better as a penciler and inker in this than it is in the single edition. So,
and we should mention that I'm reading it on DVD.
What?
I'm reading it from this magic box.
Yes, the DVD ROM
box. When I open it, it's like a Pandora's box of X-Men comics.
Yes, which I'm sure you could probably buy on eBay if someone needed to.
DVD ROM, by the way, not just DVD.
Yes.
All right. It's also a collector's edition.
I really love this Cockrum cover. I think it's excellent.
It's a great cover.
It's art. We're getting the Phoenix reveal on the cover. If you remember where we finished in the last issue, I should have started here. The X-Men previously in X-Men. The team they are escaping a satellite base full of Sentinels in a space shuttle that is ill-prepared to deal with the solar radiation that they're being bombarded with as they re-enter Earth's atmosphere. Jean Grey has basically she's absorbed the knowledge to pilot the space shuttle back to Earth.
Yeah, she did Neo. She did a Neo.
Yeah, or Johnny Mnemonic. And
Keanu.
The X-Men are all in a life pod, like a section of the ship that will be able to withstand the radiation for a short period of time. Mm-hmm. And she has sacrificed herself by piloting the ship. She knows she's going to die, and she's going to pilot it back to Earth to save her friends. So at the end of the last issue, it is plummeting down to Earth on fire, and we are under the strong belief that Jean is about to die. Is that fair?
Yeah, of course. Her body is under incredible stress.
Right, and that's kind of all we know. We know they played up these solar flares, and then the last thing I'd say about it is, I think it was either the last panel or nearly the last panels, the ship is being bombarded with this radiation in the Fantastic Four style, where it's like you're in a ship and the words are rat tat tat tack 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 along the bottom. It's like, okay, this is that means in Marvel comics speak, that means cosmic rays. So what happens when you get a mutant and cosmic rays? That's the setup. So they had three choices, by the way. I don't know if you knew this.
No, I
100%
did not know this.
To power up the character, they had three choices.
Okay.
They could have her get bombarded with cosmic rays.
Okay.
Choice one. They could have her get bitten by a radioactive spider. Or they could have had her in a gamma bomb explosion.
They only had three. You can only come up with three things.
Those are the only three things that would have been. I mean, this is all they came up with. Truthfully, to make her go through a solar, cosmic rays thing again, I think is lame. They just basically used an old Marvel thing from 1961. Anyway, moving on.
But I will say, notice how they've stuck all their heads in that top left. They're jamming them in there.
In the corner box.
Because I think previous issues, they were like a circle, and now it's gone square to ones that we more recognize today.
Yes.
Or at least the golden age of corner boxes. And there are too many people on that team, and they can't even fit. Half of Wolverine's head isn't even in the corner boxes.
Yeah, but it looks good with the X, I have to tell you.
Yes, it does.
It matches the triangle of it. It looks fine.
Yes.
If they really
it goes in. Yes,
dimension. They could have shrunk all the heads. It's not a difficult thing to do.
Shrunken heads.
But they've decided to go with the triangle theme, the angle theme, which I think works. All right.
I love it. All right. Enter the Phoenix.
They really just threw everything away on the cover. Like, here you go. Here's everything.
They really did.
And we get this awesome, color job. There we get some creativity happening there. Like, do it in an unorthodox way. Use of all those warm colors. That theme of a phoenix being a fiery bird. They're really laying into it, which is great. Lots of Chris Claremont doing what Claremont does. If anyone wants to read that, feel free. It's just going. Yeah, but
all you know is there's the prologue, and that's what's happening.
he does great narration, and it's beautiful and poetic, and he's a good writer for that, right?
100%.
Yeah, I'm into it. Again, really dramatic use of the double splash.
This is cool.
It's a common trope of Marvel to do splash page then double splash.
Okay.
That's like a Kirbyism. And so to play with it or change it up and have it be like a double spread but with other panels, it works. This totally, it really works with the shape of the ship and like the motion idea of coming in horizontally with lots of impact. It's great. It's a really good looking spread.
Whoever was the manufacturer behind this particular spaceship should have all the contracts in the Marvel Universe. This thing has held up. I mean, now we see it being torn apart, but it literally has. It crashed into a space station without a dent. It backed out of a space station.
Yeah, that was weird last issue.
And now it survived re-entry. I'm just saying, if Stark needs some kind of new design team, I say go to the guys who just developed this.
I have a pet peeve in movies and comics that when characters go up into a higher atmosphere or orbit, when they come back down, they're often in the same place.
Oh, right.
They have no trouble getting back to, like, so Jean is landing this plane or this ship on Earth in distress, but yet she picks the airport closest to their house.
100%.
Like, it could have landed anywhere. Like, no, we got to. And Claremont really is letting you know that he knows the geography of the New York area, because he drops reference after reference. He says, okay, Kennedy Airport, that's fine, no problem. But what does he also say here?
Well, the next page, he says, right into Jamaica Bay.
Well, yes, but before that, he says it was screaming low over Long Beach and Cedarhurst. Like, he's just got to let you know. Exactly. Like, these are the specific spots, making it really real for people who live there and fictional for the rest of us who don't.
Is he from New York? Is Claremont from New York?
If memory serves, he's actually born in England.
Okay.
And then I don't remember. So you can look that one up if you want to. But he's working in New York at this time, right? Like, he's in that area. So, yeah. And then, yes, Jamaica Bay is where they crash. He just specifically talks about, the runway and all that. But one cartooning complaint. I love the way the shuttle comes in out of the sun. That's really good looking. It's really barreling. You can see by that smoke trail. Everything is moving left to right, left to right, left to right, and then this one panel where it's right to left. And I find it jarring. Like, that one doesn't work to me. Like, it changes the flow of the read, but the main one is just great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. They done this a couple of times with the issues we looked at, where the panel breakdown, the literal panel breakdown of the design of the panels is almost like shattered glass is maybe a way to look at it. They've done it a couple of times, and they're just not linear. They're not like right. And, it's kind of it's a cool thing. I mean, when it works, it works.
This one's good. I like this one. I only little beef maybe besides the right to left shuttle thing would be the second to last panel with all the giant heads. I'm not sure what the value is of having that one part of it cross over to this side of the page.
Right. And then that little bit there.
You kind of can't use it. And if you don't need it there, then maybe do something else. Like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe there was a different way to space this out. Like, I guess both of the panels that are sharing on either side of the spine or the middle, they both have that wasted sliver. So maybe Planet, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I understand.
I'm not sure what to say. Never mind. I take it back.
I do love how all that, but I mean, they had the space to work in that panel, and the size of the heads vary wildly because they're like, we got to fill that page up, that panel up. So the Colossus's head is going to be massive, and
it's almost like it's like, Flash. As if you're there. It's like a panic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind that effect. I kind of the disembodied heads is. Things are coming in and out of vision as you're sitting there, and I'm okay with it. But anyway. On to the next page.
Yeah.
Kennedy's Runway Complex, the Last Crash Barrier, and arcs out over Jamaica Bay to land once, twice,
Three
thrice.
times a spaceship.
The use of thrice before Simpsons. This is like 20 years before Simpsons.
Thrice.
It's amazing.
Touch my belt buckle.
And then down it goes. And I love Heroic Cyclops. A couple things here. Heroic Cyclops, he comes up, made it, left his girlfriend down there.
To who? Like
to the reader.
Yes, score one for me.
Greatest hero. Everyone comes up. Gene's still down there, and he's like, I never looked back, buddy. I got out of there.
It's like he's running a race and he came in first, and he's like, yes. Guess who gets to ride up with Dad in the front seat on the way home from baseball tonight? Me, not you, Alex.
Then we were all safe, all except the lady who got us down. I'm going back for her right now in 5. 4.
Yeah.
Like if you're really going to go get her. Like, don't talk about it. My other thing I love here is how Wolverine's mask is droopy when it's wet.
Yeah, look at that. Like he's a
floppy ears.
Wet dog. He's like a wet cat. That's pretty great. I also like how Cyclops is like, I will kill you, Kurt.
Right. So he's
I will burn your head off if you do not.
He's not going to go get her right now. Let's have a conversation first. And in the conversation, I'm going to take the time to breathe and threaten you.
Yeah.
You stopped me once before, Nightcrawler. Get in my way this time, and I'll kill you. I'll kill you with as much conviction as I'm saving Jean now in 5.
Right. I'll kill you just as bad as Jean's dead right now because I'm talking to you instead of going to kill you.
And then the cover is reimagined as a panel, and Phoenix comes out of the water and she announces her name. Hear me, X-Men.
Yeah.
No longer am I the woman you knew. I am fire and life incarnate now and forever. I am Phoenix. Amazing.
So is this the first, I guess would be, first appearance of Jean Grey as Phoenix?
100%.
Okay, so my other question then is a valuable comment?
Yeah.
Okay,
it would be considered a key, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I hate that word, by the way, in that use.
Valuable?
No, key.
What is that? Yeah, walk me through that. What is that?
It means it's like in the run of this title, people pull it out. They select it out of a run as being a key issue for collectibles.
But for collectibles, okay.
Yeah, for its like resale value or it's market value, as opposed to so often when people buy a run of something, these issues are often missing because collectors have snagged them. Just as from an art point of view here, like Dave Cockrum has a very distinctive design style. Mm-hmm. His costumes of the X-Men are, I guess, second only to, Kirby does the original ones, which are pretty boring. And they get dropped when Neil Adams takes over the book, perhaps. Those kind of colored variations of the original X-Men costumes, where Cyclops is still wearing that costume here. But Beast wears like a red middle, and Jean goes to the skirt and yellow boots, the one that you said you like.
The go-go boots.
The go-go boots, and Havoc's costume and Polaris, and I think those are mostly Neil Adams. Cockrum of course comes up with Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Phoenix. Right. And there was talk of rebooting her for a while. They wanted to do that, and his idiosyncrasies as a designer are very much apparent here, like the thigh-high boot.
Sure.
Right. We see with Colossus, we see with Storm. We're going to see with other characters when they go back to space, like Corsair and the Starjammers. You know those Starjammers?
I do. Because that's the best 80s band of all time.
Okay.
No?
Do you know the Starjammers?
Jason, the Starjammers? That's not what your high school band is called?
But you do know the Starjammers within this context?
I know a couple of them, sure. I do. They're like in space. Isn't it? It's Scott's dad, right?
Right. We're going to get there soon enough in a few weeks.
Scott and Alex's dad.
Yeah. Yes.
Starjammers!
When you look at the Guardians movies and you look at the Starjammers, you're like, oh, that's the same thing. They are, the makeup of the team is ridiculously close to what the Guardians are in the movie.
And what comes first?
Oh, Well, the Guardians of the Galaxy are a thing already,
Right.
but they don't have members that were in the movie.
Right. That's that other team that
It's like Yondu,
like Stallone's team, right?
Starhawk, or I don't even remember his name. It might be Starhawk. Anyway, so we'll get there. But what I'm saying is Cockrum's costume design is apparent here, and you know she gives herself a sash. Yeah, let's just go. It's she explodes and she announces that she's here and she is something different.
In class, it's a classic superhero panel.
Oh, it's great.
Am like a hero emerges from water, in pose, and announces their name.
Full power pose.
I do like. So I was thinking, yes, I did like the Marvel girl. I do like the Marvel girl costume, just because I think it fits the time period, or at least the '60s. The kind of re-envisioning of that's kind of fun. I do like the repurposing of the color scheme in her costume.
Yeah,
the green and the yellow.
Yeah,
I mean, the sash is a bit on the belt. Sash is a little bit superfluous, but I mean, aside from that, I do like the green and yellow being the primary color elements.
And it's that metallic yellow, right? It's kind of gold.
It's a metallic, yeah, and she's got the red hair, the flaming red hair.
It does the job.
It's a great look.
It works, and one of the ways we know it works is because it's stuck.
Absolutely.
And versions of this, you know, it keeps coming back to it. So I failed to remember to get my X-Men figures because I have a good Phoenix figure. I have my regular ones there, but I didn't bring up any new ones, which I could have brought up Phoenix for today, and I just
when I come over and we play figs again and see them.
Good looking figure. All right. So right away she has her first, you know, sign of mental and physical weakness. Sorry, if you flip the page, if you're ready.
Oh,
right. My mind,
Phoenix, but I'm also so weak.
So many memories, sensations, pain inside, tearing me apart. What's happening to me? What have I done? And this is the first time we're kind of encountering this, where there's something else at play here, right? It's not just Jean. There is this persona that she's taken on, right? Phoenix is a new persona. It's not just a power up. There's something else at play.
Mm-hmm.
And she calls out to Scott, crashes back into the water, and this time Scott acts like a hero and actually goes and saves her. You're safe. Yeah, the flight's over. You're back on Earth, and you're gonna be all right. And he senses there's no pulse. For some reason, she has bangs here. She didn't have bangs in the line. Anyway, I find that women's hair and artists back then, they just don't take the time to care about the way they draw
so
hair consistently.
You know how, as we're doing this this show, we really should be drinking every time that Cyclops says Mr. This should be a shot times 5 because he calls himself Mr.
He does. That is a really
third
special
panel.
one.
He's not saying Mr. to anybody but himself.
Stop thinking like that, Mr. She'll pull through. She's got to.
So that's at least if we were seriously, treating this as a serious drinking game.
Right.
That's at least worth 5.
Right. I agree with you. That's a big one. So then as they get out of the water, they swim to shore. They've got Xavier.
Yeah.
Cyclops is for some reason Nightcrawler is crawling.
Well, because he's doing what he's best at, crawling at night. It's daytime. Right?
Wolverine's his mask is still down. I love it. And then right away they're like, okay, let's get your before the police get here, do the image inducer.
Yeah. Change
the way you look, Kurt, because we don't want to see you.
Yeah, you're a freak, Kurt.
Now there is some discrepancy between our two versions, by the way.
Oh, is here the first one?
Is this the first discrepancy?
No, I mean, is this the time where there's...
I don't want to really go into it too much because there are like 2 new pages of uninspired.
But that's one of the neat things about the way that you and I are reading these is that every issue has 2 more pages.
Well,
and it's often just context and story.
I want to see who this artist is. Actually, I should have looked at that beforehand.
Often it's things that we in the moment look
Tom
at and
Morgan.
say, you didn't need this, but you felt compelled.
So they set up basically in the panel where Nightcrawler and Storm are changing their costumes, right? Storm changes because she just it's a simple enough matter to use her powers to repolarize the unstable molecules of her costume. Yeah. You know, that's no problem for her, right? I guess that's a thing. And they've move some things around, redrawn the top of her hair.
Uh-huh.
So she doesn't say, "I too shall change." That's like instead it's the curve of her hair.
Uh-huh.
And they moved Nightcrawler's his speech to the bottom, and they've got rid of Storm's entire discussion about the unstable molecules. It's just out of this issue.
They're just like, forget it.
And they basically say, hey, like, we've got to make a move here before the cops get here. By the way, Dr. Corbeau, do you mind taking the heat for this? Like, can you do the explaining?
Okay.
And then the X-Men run away, and Corbeau starts talking.
They leave him holding the bag.
They leave him holding the bag, and he's going to explain that terrorists took over the station, and he just starts like ranting, and he's like, "I'm the only one. I'm, who from only survivor. Like I'm Corbeau, director of Project Star Corps. Terrorists hijacked," and he like fakes fainting. So he's occupying these paramedics' time with his shenanigans, while the X-Men are hiding in like a little alley, and they give Wolverine 4 lines of dialogue, right? Because he's the popular character of the day.
Right,
but he's not at this point.
When
the issue's originally made. So they give him a bunch of dialogue, and they give more to Phoenix to say in her like passed out state. She starts saying the things that we would think of in hindsight. Like she says, the light, the glory, stars, worlds, all creation, part of me. So she's not just another entity.
Right.
This is a cosmic entity.
Right.
There's another being here that is on this cosmic scale. So they're just putting those things in there because it's not originally part of this, at least not yet. So that stuff's done. And then Storm puts a little fog out, and the X-Men run away, and Wolverine gets 2 more lines. Let's get us out of here, Charlie, kind of stuff. And then there's a scene of Storm at home. She goes to pack a bag, goes to her room and packs a bag of some of the X-Men's things that they're going to need for their stay at the hospital, and she flies back and meets the X-Men. And then there's a third page, so page 7, 8, 9, where Professor X mind wipes a limo driver. They steal a limo. Wolverine threatens to use his claws to remove Jean's uniform because it won't come off. And in that instant, as he pops a claw, her clothes change back to just civilian clothes, and even though she's unconscious. Just moving on. It just none of it. Then it's back to where
then
we
it's
are.
back to. I was going to say though, I wrote down here because they do mention their previous issue, their previous adventures at Kennedy Airport a few pages back,
right?
And they also tore it up then, and all I could think of is within a period of a month or something, however the timeline is, they have wrecked Kennedy Airport twice,
and a space station,
It's like. Guys, there's one guy who's just fixing the electrical, and he's like, done. Oh man, I can go home now. I got my vacation coming up, and they're like, right, just destroys it again, and he's just beside himself because X-Men have ruined his day.
Yeah, they're a problem. And then we get a neat shot of Logan and his civvies.
Yeah, Canadian cowboy.
He really, like, from here on in, this is how he kind of dresses in both the comics almost regularly and the cartoon too.
Yeah.
And in action figure form, I do have a version of him where he's wearing.
That's right. Canadian cowboy, is that what it's meant to be?
Canadian, yes. Rural, yes.
Right.
Is he a person who rides horses to wrangle cattle?
Maybe not.
I just find the word cowboy is overused to anything involving like working on a farm.
Yeah.
Or something in a rural area. You're not necessarily a cowboy just because you, like, if you harvest corn, you're not a cowboy. But anyway, he is wearing a cowboy hat. Yes, he is Canadian. Yes, Canadian cowboy. Sure. Wow. But the belt buckle, the denim, the sort of rugged cowboy wear.
Canadian tuxedo's got denim up top, denim down below,
and he's smoking. Right. And then you get the nurses talking and all that stuff, and I love that little JFK mystery deepens.
Yeah,
little newspaper thing there.
I also like how he's such a grouch. The guy's like, "Hey, buying flowers for somebody?" Just making small talk. He's like, "Mind your own business." I swear, like it's just, dude. He's just at his. Oh, is it for a sick friend? He's like, "I'll cut your head off."
He will. I believe him.
You know, he's got this inner monologue, right, where he's a bit conflicted.
There's a change in the monologue, by the way. I just happened to catch it because I was now that we were off those 3 pages that were changed, I was looking for changes in script. So he says, I'll read mine and you can read yours there, and you'll see the difference here. It's one word. Man, I gotta be crazy. I know that. Acting like a school kid, still wet behind the ears, and for some broad. Isn't that great? Yeah. Calling her broad? Anyway, moving on. What's Jean Grey to me anyway? In yours, it says, what's Jean Grey to you anyway?
Right.
Someone I like and want.
Oh.
And what Wolverine wants, he gets.
Regardless of her saying the matter.
Oof.
Yeah, terrible.
Awful.
Terrible.
But we're moving on. Not this time, Bub, says the narrator. The narrator calls him Bub. I love it. He never felt
hot bothered. Over a frail.
He and Sabretooth both call women frails. Consistently for the next 15 years. Yeah. Yeah, yummy. Yeah, I always like being a loner. But what the hey? I'll surprise her with these flowers. Maybe get to talking. Maybe forcing myself on her.
Yeah, right. Maybe if she'll let me.
Awful.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then he just sees that everyone's there. We told you so, Wolverine. Anyway. So now the X-Men are sitting in the hospital waiting to hear. This is not very exciting comics at the moment. They're sitting in the hospital waiting. It's like it's some drama.
I feel it should be almost like awkward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So do you think we can fly through this part? Because it's
also,
not a lot of...
What is he... Okay, let's also talk a little bit about the fact that, like, at this point we have established, and he's on that team, that Jean and Scott are off again, on again, in love, whatever, couple, whatever. That's very well established. What the hell is Wolverine doing?
Well, Wolverine wants, Wolverine gets.
I guess. But like...
Also, Cyclops' monologue here makes me think that they aren't
an item anymore.
A solid couple. Like, they're not committed. But they should be. Anyway.
Feels a little presumptuous on Logan's part. Considering he's lived like 3 or 4 lives, he should have learned by now.
And then he just dumps them in the trash can, like in the first chance he gets.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so they go on. Cyclops is pining about it. I should read through it again to see if he calls himself Mister while he's sitting there.
I don't think he does.
All those wasted years, Mister.
Mister.
Anyway.
No, he does. Yes, and you're right. It's kind of a few pages of Jean's okay.
Yeah.
And Cyclops has a moment.
I would have rather that they show us that he's stressed instead of telling us. Like, have the rest of the comic book be about them trying to get on with their day, trying to accomplish something without being overcome with emotion about Jean while they're doing other things. Like, what does Cyclops do? Fix his car engine, tunes up his engine, like, damn wrench, like, give me some scenes where they're having trouble coping in their regular lives, as opposed to just sitting around waiting in a hospital. But anyway, things work out fine. Nightcrawler, of course, bounces off the walls.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
And Peter picks up Storm.
Yep.
And Wolverine's pose is like this.
I know, eh? Hot dang!
Yeah. And Professor X is like, oh no.
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't just see you do that. That's what he said.
Yes. He's got his head down. Like, and anyway, it's like
I have the worst headache.
He's got some relief. He also mentions, by the way, of course, that he's not comfortable using sort of his psychic abilities because the nightmare is still reoccurring. That he's
every time he tries.
Since the beginning of our reread.
That's right.
And Wolverine pops his claws here. Because he's... Oh, sorry, I'm a page ahead of you. Pardon me.
Oh, yeah, here we go. This is so strange.
They're told... Xavier tells them it's time to, like, let's take a vacation.
Vacation.
Everyone needs a break. This has been really stressful. You've been to space. You almost lost Jean. We're taking an enforced vacation. Stick it in your ear, bub.
Stick it in your ear, bub.
Wolverine pops his claws and he's gonna kill the professor because he has to go on vacation.
Then go on vacation.
Because none of us are going anywhere till Jeannie is better. Control yourself, Wolverine. And for once in your life, listen and think. Yeah. Anyway, so Cyclops is staying behind. Xavier's staying behind.
Mm-hmm.
The new X-Men are going to go take a vacation.
That's right. It was, again, this was actually foreshadowed.
Yeah.
3 issues ago or 2 issues ago. Scene in Ireland where Sean Cassidy's lawyer wants to get a telegram to him. And he's knocked from behind.
Yes. So those people who are maybe a little young, they didn't have smartphones back then or computers in the home. So there was no way to send a message other than the mail or telegram. Anyway, so yes. So they're going to go across the Atlantic Ocean to Ireland.
That's right.
To Cassidy Keep, and where Sean Cassidy, the Banshee, is inheriting his ancestral home, thanks to the news from Mr. Flaherty.
Right.
And then we get this great travel montage, right?
Yep.
Where
they talk about the state of the roads.
And Cockrum has to, look at his what's called a morgue file, like the files he's collected of images, so he can draw a jumbo jet and a steam engine,
a jumbo jet, and a 19th century Victorian train,
and this
on a 1930s car,
a very nice car. And look at Banshee's driving; he's so happy. Anyway, it's really cute in the bumps. The Irish, what's with the bumps? I love this. The second last panel, Storm's face. She is not happy.
No, that's an unhappy Storm.
And there's some miscolor in her hair too. But anyway, now when you flip, if you're ready,
here we go.
This drawing of Cassidy Keep on page, I guess for you, it would be page 18.
22 for me.
Oh, 22, because there must have been some ads in between because you just jumped.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. It's a great drawing. And the one that's in the black and white is phenomenal. Like the details in it. It's lush. It's a really, really great drawing. I like the skies and the coloring. My coloring here is completely different. There's no reds in it. It's not sunset. It's quite boring by comparison. Yours has the purples, or that magenta plate is being used, and like 25% cyan in that as well, maybe to get that color all purple. Mine is much more subdued. But anyway, it's a really good drawing.
It immediately made me think of Excalibur. And I mean the comic series Excalibur.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then I was thinking Nightcrawler is here, and it made me immediately think of like, I wonder if at the time when who knows, when they're plotting this and doing this, that they're thinking of what if we did like X-Men Arthurian version,
sure,
or something. Anyway, it just made a British Isles X-Men. Anyway, that was where I immediately kind of jumped.
Yeah, I wonder when that idea comes about, like when they get hold of Captain Britain and
right.
I wonder if it's 80s, actually reverse engine. Yeah, it's in the 80s. That series starts in the late 80s.
Okay.
Mid to late. But I wonder how much of it is just because of the artists they bring on to X-Men. That might have to do with Alan Davis working on some X-Men comics, and Alan Davis being one of the earlier artists in like Marvel UK to work on Captain Britain.
Okay.
It's like, let's play to this guy's strengths. Maybe they want to bring him in that way. I'm not sure. I will we'll think about that in about 100 issues.
Yeah. Also interesting, a bit of problem, maybe some revisionist Irish history when they talk a little bit about it's never been taken or stormed, or it's always held out, and it's like, well, Ireland is in a republic for about 60 years at this point, so there's a few hundred years where the Irish before this don't really have control of their own land. So
yeah,
I thought it was kind of interesting.
Keeping in mind that, again, Claremont being of English descent. Maybe.
Anyway, it's a quibble.
And then, as we see a mysterious hand that I believe we've seen before, and he's using some high-tech gear that is a really big, like a big computer terminal, or when there's a whole like wall of it, what would you call that?
Oh, like like a
built-in.
Yeah,
like a console, like a big console there. Like
sure.
He's got a big thing he's working with, so he's observing, and 5 flies winging their ways into Black Tom's web, never to escape alive.
Okay, so first of all, they should call him Stick Hitter, because that's the second time we've met Black Tom. It's the second time he's used his giant stick to deal out justice,
right,
or to make people afraid of him, which is really funny. I guess the stick has, who knows? Does the stick have power? I don't know yet.
We shall see. I'm not spoiling.
Because right now it doesn't. It's just a stick that people get bashed in the head over.
I like the Flintstone Scooby-Doo kind of element happening here. Like they're going to the mysterious castle that someone's inherited, and there's a threat there, like some mystery that they have to go deal with.
Yeah.
If they can stay there for 24 hours, they will get to inherit.
Get in a mystery machine, pull up to that creepy old castle.
Yes, this feels very silly in that direction.
Also interesting, I noted, just because it's something we've talked about before, is Black Tom, another Irish character, does not speak with an Irish accent, not like Banshee, not like Eamon, his person here, does not have any kind of accented language in the lettering, which I thought was interesting.
Any thoughts on why?
I don't know. Inconsistency?
That is a fair reason. I wonder if it is just to differentiate.
Right.
It's definitely not because of fear of stereotyping.
No, because I looked for it, right? Because Moira McTaggart, Banshee's friends, it's something that's common, but this is the character that does not.
Right. Just to say, I'm not suggesting that you're suggesting that Moira is Irish.
No. Just because
she does use an accent.
Yeah, for Scottish. Yeah, they did like she's a Scottish brogue represented in linguistic terms in the lettering.
Yes. All right. You ready for another great X-Men trope? When you flip the page, ready?
I hope it's a stick. I hope it's a stick beating.
Oh, it's something much better.
Oh yeah.
It's another time where Storm gets naked.
Also, she does this in her room, not in a shower or a bathroom. Just she does it freely. Does that mean her room is wet?
Her room is drenched.
Her room must be like that room must be.
It's destroyed.
Destroyed now. It must be like the drywall is ruined.
Oh, there's no. Is it drywall? I would imagine.
I don't know. It's probably fallen through the cracks of the stone floors. It's probably permeous.
So she uses her powers to have a shower in the middle of her room.
Does she use the wind to clean it up? No.
I don't know. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's again just an excuse for them to do this. Once every few issues, we get an image of Storm where she's not dressed.
She frees herself. She becomes one with whatever.
But she leaves her headdress on.
Of course.
Yeah, it's all very odd.
And the panel above, by the way, who are those little mini night crawlers in the wings there?
That's a great question. And they have one of them has a knife.
That's what I mean.
Belt. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I just wish they had to walk past a painting that went like this.
No,
I love that.
Is that watching us?
I love that. As a kid, I thought that was the funniest thing. And they'd hear a laugh, like an insane laugh from behind a painting. I'm all into this. Fred Flintstone dealt with that a couple times, didn't he? Did he have like a crazy uncle and they had to?
Who?
Fred Flintstone. Pardon me.
Oh, possible. I mean,
Hanna-Barbera Flintstones. Like, was Flintstones a regular thing on?
Yeah, I probably watched some of it, but I think maybe I know what you mean. I think a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff had those tropes.
Right. When in the 5 years between our age, like at the end of the 70s, Flintstones was like an every day, every morning, and like every lunch hour kind of thing that we watched it.
Or just Flintstones.
Both, but I preferred Flintstones. And you watched a lot of Flintstones, like a lot. Anyway, big fan of Bam Bam and Pebbles over here. I like those kids; they're really adorable. So anyway, moving on. Then Storm, she also, I don't know how she gets her hair like that. It's incredible.
She's
up
Storm.
in that dew.
Why can't Kurt knock?
Right, they're not. Yeah, you're right. It's the same gag they did with Vision in Civil War, I believe.
Yes.
Right, where he just comes in the room like, Viz, like boundaries.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We talked about this. So it's just that whole thing going. But Nightcrawler coming in, talking to Storm, and then he has this fun cartooning gag where they get to have him as different people.
And why is that stuck in 1930s Hollywood? So Clark Gable, Fred Astaire, Groucho Marx, and whoever his person he likes to be is.
Errol Flynn.
So not even like 1930s, like golden era Hollywood. Why is his device that Stark gave him? Is it a joke? Was Tony like, hey, guess what?
It's just, it's all.
It's just strange. It's such a strange choice.
It's kind of, it makes me think of like these are the things that were on TV in reruns when these creators were kids. You know what I mean? Like they're growing up on 30s movies that were on TV on a Saturday afternoon, as opposed to
like Storm's laughing at Groucho Marx. Like
yes,
she had like.
Has she ever seen Groucho Marx?
The Marx Brothers, right?
Right. I've barely even seen Groucho Marx, and anyway,
she also changes again. By the way, you think she does? Changed.
And then anyway. So we just these weird scenes. Totally they could have just used this for so much more fun stuff to build up the mystery.
You're right. The spooky castle thing, they could have instead of going this route, they should have gone like the real fun spooky castle route. For sure. But the knights, the sets of armor that like look at you when you
or just like, did I hear something? Did I not hear something? Whatever it is. And then the next page, this is back when you were allowed to smoke in comics. Not only is Wolverine the smoker, but so is Banshee with his awesome pipe. Of course. Playing into that stereotype again. He gets his little cap on. And Wolverine, when he gets dressed up, this will stay for a good 15 years. When he gets dressed up with the bolo tie.
The bolo tie. I wrote down bolo tie.
Yeah. Watch your mouth. Watch the mouth, bub. He's busting Banshee's balls for not dressing up when he had to dress up.
Of course.
Yeah.
I do like what they do here, though, with Storm, where even though we've talked about this, where kind of Peter and Kurt are kind of jostling for her attention, and she puts them in their place. She's like, "We're friends and we're entering as equals, so like back off, both of you." Right?
In her backless dress.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, they're happy. Their dynamic is actually very wholesome generally. Mm-hmm. For a comic of this time, anyway. Mm-hmm. And then Hannigan's Bog.
Hannigan's Bog.
I wish that was the name of the issue. As they're walking from,
it's actually the name
castle stone floors onto a giant yellow square.
It's the name of our prog rock band.
Sanagan's Bog?
No, Hannigan's Bog. You and me, and our prog rock assault.
When I ever read it, I'm going to read it as Sanagan's Bog. But anyway, the floor drops out, and they announce it. Oh,
Scooby-Doo! It's Scooby-Doo, right? It's classic.
We're falling. We have time to say that. And Nightcrawler, they all change costumes.
Yeah.
While they're falling, which is part of the fun.
Unstable molecules.
Yeah. And as they're falling, Nightcrawler says, "Oh well, it was a nice vacation while it lasted."
Just a nice vacation while it lasted.
I love it. And then we get the last page with the reveal. X-Men fall at his feet, and there is Black Tom Cassidy relaxing in some kind of wooden throne. And the Juggernaut introducing himself.
And is this the first appearance of the Juggernaut?
It is definitely not. Juggernaut was around in early on in the X-Men world.
Okay.
Although he doesn't look like it.
The new team will have tangled with him.
Yes.
So that's why he has to introduce himself.
Yes. And it makes total sense in that context. His costume is like a really strange collaboration between two of the best comic creators of all time. So Jack Kirby designs something and does very loose pencils, and Alex Toth, in a rare Marvel appearance, he does like finishes and inks on Jack Kirby stuff. And there's talk about like there's versions, early sketches that we don't know if they're real or not, but where the Juggernaut's costume is way more like, I don't know. There's like nipple points. It's really odd. It's like some strange stuff. But Toth's reworking of Kirby's design, it's an odd thing. I remember when my children were very small and they saw Juggernaut action figure, they called him Potato as his name. Like not Jason, Dad.
Potato Man over there.
Why are the X-Men fighting Potato? And I couldn't convince them this was a character they should fear or be intimidated by because he's just a potato. So yeah, he looked like Mr. Potato Head. Anyway, he's the Juggernaut.
He's a Juggernaut.
Yep. I really like, by the way, his accent on the cartoon, on the animated series. He wouldn't say the word, you imagine Xavier with a British, or at least an aristocratic.
Give him like an elitist kind of upper.
Right. But with Juggernaut, he would say, my dearly hated stepbrother. Like he has this, he'd say brother. And I really enjoy that. So whenever I ever read him, I hear the voicing of from the cartoon.
And we've seen Juggernaut now twice on film.
Yeah, one version much more fun than the other. Mm-hmm. We also, by the way, seen Black Tom Cassidy in Deadpool 2. Yes, so in the prison, there's a guy that is an antagonist for Wade in that prison.
Yeah,
and he has dreads, like a white guy with dreads, and well, he's Black Tom, and Deadpool keeps telling him that that's racist. Like, it's racist if I call you Black Tom, and it just makes him really mad. So that's Black Tom Cassidy. Anyway, that's a lot of fun. And they have the threats, and they say that you're gonna die in this tomb. Where does he say where they are? The other word I loved.
We're below, hundreds of stone. Basically that they are below in some kind of. They were kind of entombed in a castle.
In Cassidy Crag.
Cassidy Crag.
Yes.
Cassidy Crag.
Yes, I'm a big fan of this whole thing. So yeah, you're gonna die down here. Like, this is it. We're gonna do the impossible thing. We're gonna kill the X-Men. You're gonna be locked away in Cassidy Crag. And that's where. And then Storm has one of her episodes where she's overtaken with her claustrophobia, which they've been building for a little while now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so every issue has a little reference to it.
Yeah, it's Storm. She's flipped out. Thanks, guys. Way to help her.
Yeah.
And that's the whole issue. There you go. So it's the Jean stuff is happening where Jean's in the hospital. Scott and Xavier are behind. The new X-Men have gone to Cassidy Keep, where they've fallen very easily into a trap from Black Tom Cassidy, his cousin, and the Juggernaut. What is the Juggernaut getting out of this? I do not know yet. But I can't wait to find out.
He's your stepbrother, so there's some hatred there. It really is a tale of two stories. It's one comic, two stories. Let's resolve some of the Jean stuff.
Yeah, it's a transitional issue.
Then let's just go on an adventure.
Yeah, totally. And then the backup here in Classic X-Men number 9, I double check the cover, is a backup story of them waiting at the hospital, just like I wanted. It's one where Nightcrawler, they're at the hospital, and he goes out to get some fresh air, and he meets somebody there, and they have, I don't know, a jaunt of some kind. They go for a walk and talk about magic and stuff. Nightcrawler meets a kid named Daniel.
Why not?
And I don't want to go into that anymore. Nightcrawler shows who he really is after having a night walking through Central Park with some strange kid. And then they hug. and then they go back, and it turns out it was a ghost. When he gets back to the hospital, the kid is dead. He's like, "Oh my god, I met a ghost."
What,
It's,
really?
it's a Christmas episode kind of thing. I don't know. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, you want me to show you? Like, I don't.
Well, I know.
It's
mean,
one of those things where there's a spirit in Central Park. As Nightcrawler needed some comfort, a spirit came and cheered him up, and he cheered up the spirit.
And is Nightcrawler looking like Nightcrawler?
He does reveal himself to Daniel, this kid, as they're about to part, and then the kid's like, "Thank you so much," and they hug, and then Nightcrawler goes to check on the kid the next day at the hospital, and it's like, man, he's been dead for
38 years.
That guy died a couple days ago, dude. It's like, what?
Wow.
There's a ghost.
Powerful ghost comics.
Yes. So we're gonna see what happens next issue, how the X-Men get out of this. I have to admit, I'm not that invested yet. The story isn't pulling on me. It feels like a detour of somewhere where we're going, like a filler. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but the Phoenix thing has happened, and it's going to be a roller coaster ride eventually. Maybe you need to get over this hurdle, but I wanted to hear your final thoughts on the issue if you have any.
Kind of a strange pace with the two stories colliding.
Yeah.
Very much I mean, you really Scooby-Doo this stuff, but like very much yeah. I guess we'll have to see what happens comes out of here. But let's go to an ancient castle and there's trapdoors, and it seems very much almost beneath the X-Men comics a little bit in terms of what they've already kind of faced and been up against.
Sure.
Feels a little kiddie. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe they're just trying to be a bit playful and have some fun. Ooh, Miles Morales. It doesn't have Miles Morales, so that's a problem. It's fine. It's okay. I think exactly like we're very much invested in the Phoenix storyline, and to have this little detour off ramp into Irish castledom is kind of a bit strange.
I agree.
That's a great fig.
He is. This is a Marvel Legends too. But the versions, if you go up to import level, like get one that's $100 or something like that, they go insanely amazing. Where you get multiple heads. This one has an unmasked head as well. Okay. But you get ones where like the shorts are fabric, and you can have him in the full costume, or in the Knicks version where he's wearing the costume under his shorts and jacket, and multiple head sculpts, and just incredible. If this character means something to you enough that that'd be the one figure you'd want, it's worth going up a couple grades to an import to really get all the. There's so much fun you can have. Now I want to tell a story about you, me, and X-Men.
Sure, man.
I mentioned 2 weeks ago
you did
that I was going to reveal something on this episode. Do you remember me saying that in a couple of weeks I'm going to show you? Do you know what I'm talking about, by the way?
Nope.
So unfortunately, I've lost track of what year it was, but many years ago, you and I and our now wives shared a New Year's Eve together at your condo, not far from St. Lawrence Market in downtown Toronto, right? Front Street.
Yeah, man.
And there's this tradition. So,
the British tradition.
I wonder I think maybe we also exchanged maybe Christmas presents that night.
Possibly.
Does that make sense? And one of the gifts you got me, which caught me completely by surprise, because you knew I liked comics, and you knew that we both liked X-Men, but I liked X-Men comics. Do you remember now?
No.
So one of the traditions at New Year's that you told me about, or you asked us to participate in, was to go outside.
Yes.
And come back in.
Yes.
Is there any more to it than that? Is there?
You come in.
Like a fresh.
It's the oldest person has to.
Oh, right! I'm the oldest one.
It's the oldest person. It's the British tradition,
right?
And it has a name which I can't recall now.
It's called Cassidy Crag.
It's called the Cassidy Crag,
or Flanagan's Bog.
Flanagan's Bog. And you come in and you have a piece of coal. Piece of coal with you, and you come in and do whiskey, a shot of whiskey, and you've got a penny, and it's meant to coal for the hearth, right. And a penny for good fortune, and whiskey for good time or good cheer, I think.
So
you're meant to actually like go around the block like 3 times.
right. Well, we were in what floor did you live on at the time?
Okay, it was 109 Front Street East. We were, I believe, on the 11th.
So I wasn't going to go around the block.
No.
We just went into the hall, Laura and I.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I decided to raise the stakes. And because I was the oldest, you gave me an opportunity. I knew I had all the attention when I would enter the room again. So I took my pants off.
Oh, yes.
And I walked in.
Where?
Wearing X-Men comics underwear.
Oh my goodness!
And
are those is that the underwear?
This is the gift you got me that year with X-Men comics.
I gave you that?
Yes.
That's awesome. I completely forgot. That's
foreshadowing that one day you and I would be doing an X-Men comics live stream.
Was it more than one pair?
No, it was this. They're very special. They don't. And we're going to get to this issue at some point. And when we talk about what version you're reading, what version I'm reading, I'm going to be reading the underwear.
The underwear version.
It's full on John Byrne, Chris Claremont X-Men. Like, I feel bad putting underwear up to the screen, but like you get,
oh my goodness,
Wolverine fighting Cyclops. Like this is the real deal.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome. I completely forgot.
So I came. There's a photograph. I think you guys got a photo.
Probably
walking in wearing underwear. To just get a laugh out of you because we were having a good night and one of many. But there you go. So I thought because we're coming up to New Year's this weekend, I thought I would show you.
Oh my goodness,
the X-Men underwear.
That's a great gift. I'm proud of myself.
But the thing I should tell you is like they never got worn enough that I needed to get rid of them.
Well, that's probably a good thing too.
I think because I don't remember what year that was. That was. It
would have been between 2004 and 2007. So
the explanation for why I wouldn't have worn them out is that I start living with Lara in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I'm eating the same. My diet changed, and I grew out of this size underwear very fast. So I haven't worn them in ages, but I never had the heart to throw them out because they're X-Men underwear, and they're in good shape.
Do you remember? Speaking of, I probably just awesome comics to read, but do you remember? Speaking of things, gifts that were exchanged at that condo for my birthday. One of those years, Danielle built a Skyline chocolate cake for my birthday, and the movie that was out was. You remember this?
The movie that was out.
In the theaters.
Oh, I remember going to the theaters with you.
No. The big Marvel. This is before. I don't know if Marvel Legends are even on, but you gave me because it was Danielle asked for it as part of the cake. Do you remember?
I'm assuming it's Spider-Man, but now, but I don't remember.
It's from Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
And the fig is I have it upstairs in my office, and I'll show it next time we're on. And it's actually for a movie release action figure. It's not like, Ninja Spider-Man or Winter Attack Spider-Man. It's like all the fingers move, and it's very posable.
Yeah.
So I still have that one hanging around, and it's got like it's like Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm assuming that did I help with that? Like, did I choose the figure or?
Yeah. Danielle had reached out to you to get a figure of Spider-Man to climb her cake, her chocolate cake.
It's like quick, drop everything I'm doing, go to Silver Snail and get this man a Spider-Man.
And I remember you very much telling me after at the party, you're like, I looked like you had to find the Spider-Man. You were like, and it was really tough, right? Because most of those figs came with all this stupid stuff, and that one had nothing.
It was just
a posable Spider-Man.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I still remember you. I still remember you took it and you said, "See, you can do this," and you like posed it for me. And you made it look pretty badass, and I was like, "You're like, there's so many things you can do," and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good."
He probably has like the toe bend too.
Yes,
that's foot articulation. Yeah. I might have had that one as well. I don't remember now. It's been a long time since I've had my pre-Hasbro Marvel
I have
Legends.
it.
But anyway.
It stands beside my.
Nice.
It's a bit tall, I suppose. It stands beside my 80th Marvel Legends cap, but they're about the same height.
Nice.
Nice. But yeah,
that's really funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
There you go. All right. Should we call it a night?
Probably should.
Excellent. Good to see you.
You too, man.
Again, you can follow us at Group of Seven Comics, and that's the number 7, or go to our website, group7comics.ca, the number 7. On all the socials, that is the Group of 7 Comics is our tag.
Yeah.
And you are at Chris Sanagan on Instagram, Twitter.
Yep.
And I am at Jason Lapidus Art on Instagram, at Jason Lapidus on Facebook and Twitter. Give us a shout. Let us know what you're enjoying, what you're not. What X-Men comic is your favorite?
Your dreams online in the comment. Keep them coming.
Tell us what weird X-Men underwear products you have, or that you've given to someone, or would like to give to someone, whatever.
Have a happy new year and a great start to 2022.
Absolutely, and I hope that we get some great X-Men news in the new year ahead, like announcing some casting or a new movie or whatnot. Did you see the new Batman trailer?
I did.
I sent you the link.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, looks pretty. Looks like fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it in March, but I don't think we're gonna be able to go see it in theaters. Either way. All right. Have a great night. Happy New Year. And I'll talk to you in about 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes.
Bye.
Bye.